What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, season 8, I think, but I don't know what episode. So let's get into Patrick and Thais. Y'all, I'm going to give you the short synopsis, hopefully, of every single couple because I don't have the time tonight to be all detailed with these people because it's beginning to wear thin. So Patrick and Thais, okay, y'all, I chuckled throughout their whole entire segment because it was hilarious to me that Patrick was getting jealous of the fact that his brother John was bonding and getting along better with his father-in-law Carlos than he was. So John just has that personality where it's easy for him to to put himself out there, to talk to people, to bond with people. He just has that type of personality. Evidently, Patrick doesn't. And I don't know why Thais did not tell her husband, you look, you need to spend more time with my dad. You need to, my dad likes to do ABC. So, ask him if he wants to do those things. Obviously, Carlos likes to drink. He likes to drink beer. So why Patrick had not offered that to him before John did, I don't understand. But John and Carlos were bonding over beer before they all left to go to the lake. And then when they got to the lake, because let's keep in mind that Patrick has an injured leg and he has to wear this leg brace. So the funny part was when he got into the hammock, there was a hammock there on the dock, I think. And he gets into the hammock and the hammock begins to break. And he ends up basically like touching the floor, like his butt was touching the ground because the hammock had broken a few of the strings that were holding it up. And what's so funny to me was when Carlos told John that they should just let him fall, just let the boy fall. They're like, he wasn't even trying to help him. He was like, just let him fall. And then after that, John had left to get drinks. And so it was just Carlos, Thais, and Patrick. And Patrick offered his father in law to go fishing. Father in law said no. Patrick offered his father in law to go jet skiing. Father in law said no, he don't want to do that either. But then when John came back with the drinks, John and Carlos were back at it again, like two best buds, bonding over a couple of beers. And it was just so funny to me. Thais did not like it. In their confessional, Patrick had said something like, I'm a little surprised that Carlos and John were bonding so well. And then Thais says, yeah, I didn't like that either. But Patrick didn't say he didn't like it. He just said that he was surprised to see his father-in-law and his brother bond. He never said he didn't like it. But here comes Thais. Well, yeah, I didn't like that either. Well, we know you didn't like it because there's not a lot of things that Thais does like. So it's understandable that she would feel some kind of way that her arch nemesis John was bonding over her precious father because Thais is definitely a daddy's girl. She is very close to her dad. And she probably never expected that her dad would be bonding better with her arch nemesis John than her own husband. That was y'all. I was chuckling the whole way through. I thought that was just hilarious. Now, unfortunately, Patrick has a lot to prove. He still has to ask for his father-in-law's blessing. So he doesn't know how to connect with this man. He's extremely awkward around Carlos. And it's because of how the relationship started with him and Thais. Thais kept her father in the dark about what was really going on between her and Patrick. So the father feels some kind of way towards Patrick, but it's not even Patrick's fault. If Thais would have been more upfront and open at the beginning of the relationship with her father, and the father knew exactly what was going on, I'm pretty sure that they would have had plenty of time to bond. But because of Thais keeping her relationship with Patrick in the dark, and the father not knowing until way after the fact, yeah, the father he's not going to show any type of he's not going to show any type of anger or any type of whatever you want to call it. I can't even think now. He's not going to be upset with Thais. He's going to just show or express his dissatisfaction to Patrick. So yeah, Patrick has to bear the brunt of Thais's shenanigans because Thais was not grown enough just to be open and honest with her dad and to tell her dad, yes, me and this guy named Patrick, we're dating. I'm going to the United States to marry him. He's applied for the K-1 visa. I plan to stay there and be this man's wife. But she was just too chicken to do all of that. And now here we are. Moving on to Angela and Michael. So Angela and Michael have arrived in the United States. They're at the house, but she tells Michael to stay in the car while she goes inside. And she proceeds to tell her daughter that he couldn't get his visa, so she had to come back alone. And of course, Skylar was like, well, that just shows you, mama, that just ain't, it ain't meant to be. It just ain't meant to be between you and him. And so, as Skylar's going on and on about how, this is the sign from the gods that her mother needs to not be with Michael, there's a knock on the door. So they go open the door and it's Michael. So the kids, they start hooting and hollering. They're shouting and screaming, what do they call him? Papa Mike or whatever, Papa Michael. I don't know. So the kids are running up to him. They're hugging him. They're really excited to see him. And the younger ones were more excited than a couple of the older ones, but they were all pretty much excited to see Michael. And he hugged everybody, even Skyla. So Skyla had to basically, eat her words. So he passes out gifts to everybody, and Skyla does make a point to say that yes, he's here now, but we cannot forget the fact that not too long ago, my mom was unhappy with him because of whatever she found on his phone back in Nigeria. So I just can't believe that all of that is forgotten and everything is perfect now between them. So Angela shows him around, and she shows him her room. Y'all, there was like no way anybody could possibly live in this bedroom. This bedroom, Angela's bedroom, was a hot freaking mess. It was basically hoarder status. I don't know if she is a hoarder, but it was definitely on that level. It was so much junk, so much stuff on every single square inch of space. There was nothing to do in it. You could barely turn around in that room. It was so piled high full of stuff, clothes, empty Coke bottles. It was horrific. And she tells him, well, yeah, that's why you're here, Michael. You're going to help me clean all of this. And so Michael tells us in his confessional that Angela had already told him that she has expectations. She's expecting him to help around the house. She's expecting him to do his chores. That's the word that they used, was chores. To do his chores, to take to whatchamacallit, do his responsibilities or whatever. Basically, like, you're not here for a free ride. Don't expect to come living in my house and not do a damn thing and not lift a finger. You are here to work. You're going to keep this house together. You have responsibilities. You have chores to do. And I'm just like, Michael, do you have any idea of what you're... But then again, Michael probably doesn't even care what Angela's expectations are because he had no intentions of staying with Angela at all. So he could care less about what her expectations were. Let me see if I have anything else to add to Michael and Angela. Nope, not really. Moving on to Rob and Sophie. So Sophie, okay, let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Rob is leaving the club, right? Because it was his birthday. He went back home to Kansas City to, see his mom and to hang out with his friends and whatnot for his birthday. So they go to a nightclub, and the bottle girls were like, flirting with him really hard. He drew a lot of attention from the ladies. So as he's leaving the nightclub with his friends, one of the bottle girls who really took an interest in him, she follows him outside, and she slurred the words. She was very tipsy. She was drunk. And she was slurring her words. And she slurred the words, can I have your number? And Rob did not give the number, but he sent her back inside. He gave some excuse, but he sent her back inside. He wasn't going to do anything, and his friends were surprised that he wasn't going to take advantage of all the attention that he was getting from the ladies, because they would have smashed every single one of them, I guess. But Rob wasn't interested, or maybe he was interested, but he's still a married man and he was going to behave accordingly because there's cameras or to document his every move. So nothing happened. And I was a little bit kind of shocked to hear his friends say that they were surprised that he didn't take advantage of the bottle girl who followed him outside, because the girl was clearly drunk. So yeah, he could, even if he was single, it would not have been right to do anything with her because she wasn't in her right mind. She was very much inebriated. He goes back to Texas. Let's speed this up. So he goes back to Texas, and he's talking to the producers back at his apartment, and he's telling the producers that he has to make a decision with Sophie. Things cannot go on as they have been. He tells the producers that, oh, by the way, when he was still in Kansas City, that night that he was leaving the club, Sophie had called him, and she asked him how was his birthday going, what did he do that night, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the end of the conversation, she tells him, I love you. And he says, I love you back. When he got back to Austin, though, he tells the producers that they had not talked since that conversation. And it's been a few days since that conversation took place. And he talked about how she'll say she loves me, but she doesn't prove it with her actions. So he's tired of being strung along by Sophie. He thinks that Sophie is just stringing him along, kind of like keeping him for security, doesn't really want to let him go just in case either things get better or just in case the grass is not green on the other side, because who knows what the hell Sophie's doing behind Rob's back. So, for whatever reason, she doesn't want to because ever since these people have gotten together, you cannot even say that ever since they got married, ever since they got together, period. Um, well, not got together because we weren't there for that journey, but ever since she came to the United States, let's start there. They have not acted like a couple that is supposed to be in love and getting married or any of that. They have not exhibited any of that at all. In fact, I always felt like when Sophie first arrived in the United States and he went to the airport to go pick her up, and he surprised her with that, proposal that she wasn't expecting, but she went ahead and said yes. I always felt like she really was not ready to marry Rob. She really wasn't ready to marry Rob. I think she went ahead and said yes. I don't even know how or why they started the K1 process, knowing that they were not ready to make that commitment like that with one another. They just I don't know how we got to this point. But ever since she came to the United States, they've never really acted like a happy couple. They constantly fought, they bickered. It was uncomfortable to watch at times. And he's just fed up. He's fed up with it. I don't think that he's really shown, I don't think Rob has really shown love and understanding towards Sophie. I think he has shown codependency and desperation. Like, for whatever reason, he's desperate to hang on to her. And she has shown him, I think, indifference. Like, she's always acted as if I can take you or leave you. I don't really need you. Um, you're not that important to me. It doesn't really matter to me if this works out or not. That's the impression that she has given me. And Rob has given me the impression of someone who, I don't know if he's in love with the idea of love or if he's just so desperate to have a pretty girl by his side. I don't know what it is, but Rob to me at times had shown desperation. And Sophie to me has always shown complete and utter indifference. So he goes to Kay's apartment because she's staying with Kay still. She spent more time with Kay than she spent with her own husband. So he goes to Kay's apartment and to talk to her because, it's do or die. He's going to have to let her know exactly how he feels, that he's not really feeling this relationship anymore. So their segment ends right at the point where she comes out, before their conversation begins. So yeah, most likely this relationship, is dead in the water, and hopefully they can go their separate ways and do something, better for themselves, because being together was not it for them. Kobe and Emily. So, like I said, I'm gonna just do the nuts and bolts. Kobe, before they left Cameroon, they're packing their bags and ready to go to the airport. And Kobe, drops a bomb on Emily. He tells Emily, "Why don't we stay in Cameroon? Why don't we live here for a little while?" And she's like, "What the hell?" Now, I don't know how. First of all, I think this whole "let's stay in Cameroon" or "let's live in Cameroon," I think it's just strictly for the show. Kobe has no intentions of living in Cameroon. He knows damn well exactly who he's dealing with. He's dealing with Emily and her parents, and they're not going to go for that. And Kobe knows that. It's useless. It's pointless to even ask the question. I think it was brought up just to give them a storyline, just to give them something to talk about, because there's nothing much going on with Kobe and Emily other than them getting married. And I guess, it was interesting to see them travel to Cameroon. That was interesting. That was good. But now we're at that point. It's like, what do we do now? And so I don't know if the producers told him to ask this dumb question or what, or if he thought of this on his own, but I think it's strictly for storyline purposes. So he's asking her, well, why don't we live in Cameroon? And she's like, why? He tells her, well, I would love my children to get to know my culture. And Emily tells him, okay, your kids are like 3 and 18 months old. They're not going to remember anything about Cameroon. And so so then after that, they're in the car with her parents on their way to the airport. And she brings up to her parents, Kobe suggested that we stay in Cameroon, that me and him and the kids just stay in Cameroon. And the dad was like, whoa, 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 what? And so, yeah, Kobe was like, yeah, I would love to stay here in Cameroon and raise my family. Not, he didn't say raise his family. He says he wants to stay there for a couple of years. And the family asks him, well, how are you going to support them? He's like, I can find a way. I'll have businesses. And Emily says, well, that's what he always says, that he can do business here. He can have businesses here, but he doesn't specify exactly what type of business. And so then Kobe tries to paint this picture that Cameroon is a wonderful place to live. But then they checkmate him and they're like, well, if it's such a wonderful place to live, why the hell did you get out? Why did you go to China? And he says, well, I went to China to pursue my education. And so he goes, my plan was always to come back to Cameroon. And he says, y'all forget that I was a telecommunications technician when I lived in Cameroon. And Emily was like, yeah, and how much are you making per year? And he was like, that doesn't matter. Because, obviously the money in Cameroon isn't from the money here. You know, it's just different. Okay. Whatever he was making doesn't necessarily mean that he wouldn't be able to support us. People live in Africa, in all these countries in Africa, and they survive and they do well. And it's fine. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Not every single square inch of Africa is destitute and poverty and people barely making it. There's a lot of countries, a lot of parts of Africa where people are living good lives, good, healthy, financially stable lives. Coming to America is not every single person's dream on this planet. So Kobe's like, we would do fine. We would, and then of course the parents are like, yeah, we're not doing any of that. But the parents do want them to have more independence because Emily did mention how when they get back to America, they need to start looking for their own house and move out of her parents' house. But this whole thing of moving to Cameroon, yeah, that is not going to go with this family. Not at all. Not now, not ever. He says something about, oh, but the next time, he tells us in his confessional, he says, well, the next time me and my family come back to Cameroon, we're coming to stay. What are you drinking, Kobe? What are you taking? What are you inhaling? That's not going to happen. You can stay in Cameroon. Emily will leave your butt behind in Cameroon, and her kids will definitely come back to the United States. So I don't know what you're talking about the next time y'all go to Cameroon. First of all, I doubt there will ever be a next time. Okay, I'm pretty sure Emily and her parents have had their fill of Cameroon. I seriously doubt that there will ever be a next time. And so, yeah, let that dream go. Moving on to Alex and Lauren. So, Alex tells us that he's really surprised that Lauren talked about going back to work. That really shocked him because it makes me feel like there was an understanding between them that she was going to be a stay-at-home mom. So that's why this threw him for a loop, this whole thing of her wanting to go back to work. So there must have been some type of an understanding between them. She was going to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom until the kids were a little bit older or until they were grown. I don't know. So Lauren promises that she's going to be able to do it all. She talks about how I was a very successful career woman before I had kids. I'm really good at being a mom. So he's going to have a chance to see, the two Laurens collide, the hardworking, successful Lauren and the good, hardworking mom Lauren. They're going to, merge into one. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I doubt it. And I doubt it because Lauren to me seems like the kind of person who will say whatever to get what she wants. And then she'll come back and she'll flip the script on you. That's how she comes across. She promises him that she can be the career woman, that she can be the stay at home mom. She can continue to take care of the kids, take care of the house, and continue and also make money. And nothing will be lacking because Alex's whole thing is I don't need the home to suffer because you're so busy chasing money or you're so busy chasing this career. And she promises him that it won't, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure in about 6 months' time, she's going to be begging for a nanny and a maid and an assistant. And then she's going to try to convince him why this is so important for her, to have all of this to help. Oh, Alex, it's just too much for me, Alex. You don't understand. You don't understand what it's like to be a working mom. You don't get it. So she's going to be begging for a nanny, a maid, and an assistant. And he's going to have to pay for all of that. So then he also tells her, when you came to me and told me that, you felt like I'm not supporting you, you're begging me to be your cheerleader. He says, I took offense to that because I've always supported you, Lauren. I've always been there for you. You wanted to do this plastic surgery. I was against it, but I still supported you. I nearly lost my mind trying to keep everything together while you were recovering, but I still supported you. I didn't tell you no. Now you want to talk about having a career? Fine. You can have your career. You can do it all as long as you maintain the household. And she promises that she will. So the next day, I think I already covered that. Yeah, I covered everything. Yeah, so get ready, Alex, for her to tell you that it is so hard being a working mom and that she's going to need assistance or she's going to want to put the kids in daycare or something. Moving on to Jasmine and Gino. So it's time for the parade of costumes. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I don't know what the hell Jasmine was doing up on that stage. So the costumes are supposed to represent an element of their culture from their home country, right? The woman who represented the United States, I mean, she went all out. There were a lot of nice costumes. Some of them were like on the level of Miss Universe level. They were really extravagant, really intricate. The one who represented the United States of America, I'm sorry I don't have the picture, but her costume was the bald eagle, and she said there were 3,000 feathers in that costume. So when she spread her arms out, you just saw all of these feathers. And she also had the head of the bald eagle as like a headpiece. It was really, I mean, there are other countries as well that are very well represented in the parade of costumes. Now let's talk about Miss Jasmine. Miss Jasmine had a two-piece, some type of a glittery two-piece with some feathers in her head and waving some little miniature Panama flag. It was sad. It was sad. Now, obviously, I'm saying the word obviously very hesitantly, but it seems like to me that Jasmine is doing this competition for her own self-confidence. She's not really trying to win. There's no way that she expects that she is in the running to take first place. Now, they may give it to her because she's on a show, but there's no way that she truly thinks that she's going to win, because her costume, to me, it was lacking. It was truly lacking. It was really um Dollar General party, what is it, Party City vibe kind of feel to it. So compared to the others, it wasn't that great. So then it came time for the interview section where the judges will ask a question of the contestants and blah blah blah. So they asked her. Her question was, "What inspired you to do this pageant?" She talked about trying to find her identity, and her mom had always told her to follow her dreams, etc., etc. Her answer was very cookie cutter. To me, it passed. She gets a strong C for her answer. So no big deal there. So back in the hotel room with Gino, once again, they get into an argument about their marital issues. The main one being the lack of intimacy. Once again, she talks about how, you don't want to sleep with me. How could you not want to sleep with me? You're my husband, and it really affects me that you don't want to be intimate with me. The same damn thing that we've heard from Jasmine for the past 11 years. The same damn thing. Why are you still with him? Why did you bother marrying him? Like, why do you complain about the same damn thing over and over, year after year? But then you want to marry him and come live with him. Like, why would you do all of that? Oh, maybe because you're using him just to get here, and then you're going to dump him and move on to somebody else. Could that be a possibility? So he tells her, well, the reason why we don't have any intimacy is because, of our arguing, all of these arguments, they turn me off. I am not in the mood to be intimate with her after we, have one of these. I don't know, and I don't really care. It's the same damn thing. Why don't y'all just go see a sex therapist and be done with it? Ashley and Manuel. Ashley is still upset that Manuel downplayed how often he spoke to his ex. And so Manuel says, well, I didn't want to tell you because you're going to be mad. And I'm just like, Manuel, just man up. You don't have a problem asking her for money all the damn time. You don't have a problem telling her she needs to stop buying Starbucks. But you got a problem telling her that you're having conversations or you're speaking with your ex. Now, I think the issue here was, in my personal opinion, because I'm thinking to myself, why would it matter to Ashley how often he speaks with his, and that's not even what bothered her. She didn't care about the fact that he talked to his ex. She cared about the fact that he downplayed how often, or if he ever did. He basically made her think that they didn't talk at all or they talked very seldom, but in fact, they talked more often than that. Okay. But why is that an issue? Is he supposed to report to her every time he has a conversation with his ex? I'm not understanding. If you know that he's going to be talking to his ex, then how come the frequency of it became an issue and that you didn't know about the frequency? So, like, I don't know if she was expecting him to tell her every single time he spoke with her, or in his mind, was he like, yeah, I'm going to speak with my ex because she's got my kids. So it doesn't matter if I talk to her 10 times a day or once a month, I'm going to speak to her. I don't have to report to my wife how often I speak to my ex. So I kind of thought about that and I was like, why does it even matter if he told you? Unless he had told her he didn't talk to her at all and he was talking to her. I can see that being an issue. But if she knew that they spoke, but the only issue was she didn't know how often they spoke, why would that matter? Why would the frequency matter to Ashley? Um, the $1,000 that she gave him, he said that he put it in the bank for savings, which I'm like, I thought she was giving him money to send to his family because he keeps on whining about my family, my family, my family needs help, my family needs help. So why are you taking money and keeping it if you're supposed to give it to your family? And then the $300 that she gave him after she gave him the 1,000, he said that his mom was having some type of health issue and he needed to send her $300. So he says he tells her, I don't feel comfortable talking about money with you or talking about my struggles and my emotions. And he keeps all that bottled up. Okay, fine, whatever. Ashley says that, well, this is what I'm here for. I'm your wife. Your family is my family. We need to communicate more. You need to be more transparent with me, etc., etc. So he cries and he's like, whatever. So he promises he's going to do better with communicating. He's not. He's not. Because why didn't you just start off by doing that? Why does somebody have to tell you when you ask money from your wife, especially such large sums, you need to tell your wife what you need it for every single time? Like, why does somebody have to tell you that? So it's not in him to be that open with her. It's not in him to be that trusting with her. Really, Manuel, to me, seems like he was using Ashley for money. Like, he has his family, and then he's got Ashley. And Ashley was just a means to an end, which was he needs to support his family. He needs to send money to his family. And Ashley was going to serve that purpose to him. I really don't think that. I think that he does love her and that he does care for her. But I think supporting his family and using her money to do that was his main priority, and his feelings for her and their relationship and their marriage was secondary. I think his primary purpose was to make sure that his family was taken care of and that Ashley was going to make that happen for him, and then everything else came second. She was not a primary concern for him. Her money was, but just not her. So I don't think that Manuel is going to change. I think Manuel will always be secretive. I think it's just really much in his nature to be secretive and to not tell everything up front. So Ashley needs to prepare herself for that. And that's all I got to say. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.